Greetings. Here we are once again in the Mirable studio today because it's a bit chilly outside. It's chilly willy outside, dear. Chilly. I told you, we've had our summer. That was it. 2 weeks a while ago in the garden. That's it. Back into the dregs of winter now. No, I do hope it will come back, actually. Not very pleasant at all today. And I still haven't managed to go out yet and get a new, what's that thing called, for the ironing board? The ironing board cover. I still haven't managed yet to go and get a new ironing board cover. And today, just before I came up here, I thought, give the shirt a quick iron. Now, I don't usually do such things. It's only for you I do it. It is. It's only for you that I iron these shirts. And today, I thought, give it a bit of an iron. Hang on, let me just get my I'm back in the Mirable studio, so I must have my poufet to put my feet up onto. Oh, yes, dear. That's better. Might as well get comfortable, mightn't you? Pointless sitting here uncomfortable. Actually, I'm not comfortable. It's a bit too high. So I had a bit of a fight with the ironing board, and then eventually the cover just came off, and it won't go back on. The elastic... It's not one of those tie-on ones, you see. The elastic that goes... Are you a bit far away? Come closer, darling. That's it. There we are. Don't be too far away. Don't be a stranger. Please don't be a stranger. Had a fight with the ironing board. Eventually, the cover has just come off now, and it will not stay on. Why are they made so flimsy? Ironing board covers. Huh? This one, it's like got a bit of foam underneath it. And then on top goes the actual cover itself, which is a nice piece of material. But it's got elastic all around the side. And the elastic, it's become stretched and old. And it's just not tight anymore. It's not... And you can't... Once you lose... Stop it. Once you lose the tightness, that's it. It's no good to man or beast. It needs to be tight. And it's not tight anymore because it's been overused. Well, not from my ironing. It's probably not just been overused. It's just a bit old and it's all come a bit loose and it won't stay on. So there we are. I need a new ironing board cover and I'm determined that after I finish the show today, I'm going to go and find a shop that has got one. I'm not sure if they do them at the local supermarket, but I need one of those with the strings. Otherwise, I don't want to buy a whole new ironing board. There's nothing wrong with the metal part of it, is it? Some people just go out and buy a new one. My sister would. Oh, yes, dear. She would just chuck the whole thing away and go and buy a new one. But we mustn't do that in these days of recycling. I wonder if I'll be recycled when I'm dead. How can I be recycled? I don't suppose there's any way at all that one could use my vocal cords to carry on talking in someone else's head. Perhaps you, today, might be considering putting in a bit of an offer to my vocal cords. Eh? When I'm gone. On the old donation cards, is there an area for vocal cords? Or is it just heart and lungs, you know? To be quite honest, heart and lungs, kidneys, anything like that. Perhaps items that are not as important to me as my vocal cords. I wonder if you can donate vocal cords. There's an email to the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So there we are. The ironing, but I've done my best with this. I'll be honest with you. I only iron the top half of the shirt, the bit that you can see on the video. It's true. Now, if you're listening to the show and you're thinking to yourself, for the first time, a warm welcome along to you, and you're thinking to yourself, what's he talking about? He's on the radio and he's talking about watching. What you can watch as well as listen. Now, to watch, simply go to the main United Kingdom Talk website, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And you'll see the little video there, okay? Right at the very top to this show, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Well, it will be at the top if you're watching this on the early June. After that, it starts slipping down. And it goes down further and further as the weeks and months progress. Okay, so that's it. Ironing board will be sorted later. I was very, very disappointed at the steam coach on Friday night. Do you remember, I think I was telling you in the last show, we had a little bit of a problem with the internet connection that we use to do the karaoke there on Friday. Now, the way I do... Excuse me, can I clear my throat? Excuse me. We use a karaoke system there that's all online. Now, unfortunately, he's got AOL there. And we've never been able to get another computer to work with the system that's already there. We have been for hours on the phone to people at AOL, but this is back last year. I was on the phone for hours. He was on the phone for hours. They kept they would send a disc out. Sometimes it would come, sometimes it wouldn't. Couldn't get it going. His setup there is basically... You may remember, if you were watching way back then, you may remember the terrible trouble we had. AOL is one of the internet service providers. Huge organisation. And we cannot get any other computer working with the AOL system there except for the one that's already attached to it. Terrible. And we never were able to. So recently we've got these dongles come out. Remember the mobile internet I told you about in the last show? And I can do the karaoke with one of those. But for some reason last Friday, as I told you, the internet went down about 10 o'clock at night and we couldn't do any more, which was a great shame, really, because we had a lot of people wanting to sing. But, you know, one of those things, I'm afraid. But that wasn't the disappointing thing, dear. In front of my little disco unit that has been built, now I do have a photo of that. I'll try and... I'm not quite sure. It's on the computer somewhere. But I have a little sign on the front of my little DJ box there. It says, Chris Reardon's Disco. Now, this is a sign that I had made years and years and years ago when I was doing mobile discos. And it's got little flashing lights going all around it, like fairy lights. Do you know, I've noticed I'm clearing my throat again now, aren't I? No, I didn't do that at all in the garden, did I? Did you notice that? I've done it about 5 times already this show, haven't I? I don't do that in the garden, do I? That's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, so it's got all little flashing lights going around. It's only a little sign. Well, where it says Chris Reardon's, someone... Now, I don't know who it is, and we are at this moment going through the security camera footage. Someone has stolen my apostrophe. It's a liberty, dear. That's what it is. Someone has stolen my apostrophe. Chris Reardon's, R-E-A-R-D-O-N apostrophe S. But there is no longer an apostrophe. Now, this was brought to my attention by the manager, Justin. He says, rang me up one day. Chris, I said, yes. Is there an apostrophe in your name? I said, Chris Reardon, no. But what about on the sign, he said, that you gave me? Because I gave this sign to him, because Justin collects things. Oh, God. What was he? He was after something the other day. Whenever you take something, he's one of those people, whenever you take something to show him, I want one of those. Yeah, I think he's after a flip cam now as well. He collects everything. Music videos. He's constantly looking on eBay to buy more music videos. He recently bought a new computer to store all the music videos on, and has already filled up an enormous hard drive. Oh, sorry, Joy. A hard drive, it's like a set of drawers where you put all your stuff in. No, dear, not those sort of drawers. Drawers like cupboards. Yeah, not knickers. I'm not talking about knickers. Not on this programme, please. This is a clean family programme. We don't talk about knickers, Joy, if you don't mind, dear. Drawers, as in putting things in. Well, hard drives are the computer version of drawers. Okay? You put stuff in it, and it stays in there forever and ever. Amen. Until the hard drive goes wrong, and then you're in terrible, terrible trouble. You must back up your information. Back to the story. Someone has stolen my apostrophe. Shock horror. We are, as I say, at this moment, going through security cameras, trying to find it. All right? Isn't it a great shame? You can't even put a sign. You can't even put a sign up somewhere knowing that your apostrophe will be safe. It's not on, dear. It really is. Now, talking of Justin at the Steam Coach, true to his word, when I was in there on Friday night, he presented me with my very own umbrella for the garden table. And it's a great big green thing. And I was going to show you today, but of course, it's a little bit cold outside, so I've come back inside here to Mirabel Studio with all the technology and the lighting and everything, dear. And it's all marvellous once again, dear. So I will try, if hopefully a bit warmer for the next show. We'll go back outside again. And I will show you my brand new green umbrella, as provided by Justin at the Steam Coach. It's very nice, dear. Great big thing it is. Goes across the whole table. The idea is, as long as it's warm enough, if it's outside and it starts raining, we can continue with the show. Also, it's also being used for kind of shading purposes, because I have noticed when the sun hits my face, I look extremely old. Due to shadows, not due to so many, well, perhaps one or two lines, dear, due to shadows on my face. It's very difficult, unless you want to start mucking about with white bits of sheet and special umbrellas and things like that. It's very difficult to get the light right in the sun. I'm not a lighting man, or not at least a sort of video television light. I'm not a video lighting man or anything like that, so I'm kind of guessing all the time. But I did notice that when the cloud comes over, all the shadows disappear. Me and my shadow, strolling down the avenue. Sorry, bursting into song once again. I did notice the shadows disappear when a cloud comes over, so I think the big umbrella will have the same effect. All right? So that's that. Now, what else are we talking about today? Oh, the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, I'm not even sure if you hear about what goes on in America in this thing. I'm pretty sure you do in Australia. Eurovision Song Contest, a big contest every year where all the countries of Europe are invited to participate, and indeed they do. Now, for years and years, the setup seemed to work fine. There is a problem now. Since we had a lot more people joining the EEC, European. I don't know what it's called now. I don't even know what it's called, because I've never felt European. I've always felt British or English. No, not so much English. I've always felt British, you know, part of the England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales thing. I've always felt part of the big whole. I don't feel European. Don't really feel English. I feel British. There was a bit of a different. British it kind of takes in more, if you see what I mean. England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. I'm British. England is just England, and of course I am English, right? But I feel British, if you see what I mean. I certainly don't feel European. Never have. I like Europeans, don't get me wrong. French, English, whatever. I know, Irish, Spanish, all the same. Okay? No problem with that at all. But I don't feel that I am European. I feel British. Now, the Eurovision Song Contest in the last few years has now included people from Eastern European countries, which is great, you know, fantastic. Russia, Poland, lots of other countries. Where else can we think of? Latvia, Ukraine, all countries like that. No problem with that at all. It's fine, lovely people and what have you. But here's the problem. At the end of the Eurovision Song Contest, when all the participating countries have finished singing, the television programme then goes round to the various countries asking them to vote on their favourite song. That's how it works. Okay? Now, for years and years, since the beginning of the Eurovision Song Contest, this has worked very well. Basically, countries will vote for the best song. There has always been a little bit of political voting going on, where friends would vote for each other. Cyprus would vote for Greece and Greece would vote for Cyprus. Ireland would give us some points. We'd give Ireland some points. The French would give Germany some points. Germany would give France. Do you see what I mean? It was always been like, say, the country's friends would kind of vote for each other. But all in all, it kind of worked out in the end. You know, it didn't get too bad. Now, what's happened, it appears, since the Eastern European countries started voting, it seems to me it doesn't matter so much about the songs, but it matters how friendly you are with a particular country who's singing that song. And so this Eurovision Song Contest, Russia won. Now, the song was good. Don't get me wrong, okay? The song was good. Possibly it was the best song in some people's eyes. But when you looked at the voting, all the countries around Russia were giving them big scores. Okay? This happened last year as well. And the year before, not to Russia, but to other countries. Those countries that are kind of on the eastern side of Europe are all voting for each other. And some of them are small countries, okay, which is fine. But they're all voting for each other. And what's happened here in the UK is a lot of people are a little bit fed up and say that the voting system is no longer fair. The whole song contest is supposed to be a musical event, not a political one. And music, I've been into music for years and years, as you know. My main job is a club. Well, I say my main job is not so much now, but I'm a club DJ, amongst other things. I host a show called Beat Match, and it just plays non-stop club music. And to me, music has always been without boundaries of faiths or races or countries. Doesn't matter where you're from, music is universal and should appeal to everyone. And I always thought that music was one of the ways where you break down boundaries. You come to any of the places I've worked, I suppose, and it's just marvellous to see so many different nations represented by the customers in the club, usually being ripped off, I'm afraid, along with us English. Don't worry, it's not just the non-English that are ripped off. Everyone's ripped off when they go out to clubs these days, if you ask me. The prices of drink are astronomical, and someone's getting the money. Don't you believe for one moment when they start pleading poverty, all these managers are on bonuses and things like that, earning an absolute fortune. And then there's many other fiddles, many other fiddles that I could tell you about. But I can't, because I still work in these places. I'll tell you one day, all right? I will tell you one day. When? That depends what happens, really. Depends what happens. You'll be quite shocked, actually. I'll spill some secrets, maybe one day when I finish doing all that sort of thing. But the whole music thing, to me, is supposed to break down boundaries. And this is not necessarily the fault of the Eastern European countries. It's almost like, put it this way, it's almost like going to a karaoke competition. Okay? Say you've got 5 singers in this karaoke competition, and they've all brought a selection of friends with them, and at the end of the karaoke competition, you all have to vote for the favourite singer. Now, if friend number 1 brings 10 people down, friend number 2, 3, 4 and 5 bring 3 people down each, and they all sing, who do you think's going to win? It's going to be friend number one, isn't it? Because no matter how good those other singers are, friend number one's friends are going to vote for number one, aren't they? And to me, it seems that's what's happening. We've got all these other little countries now joined in. And it seems to me a little bit of a close-knit community. And they're just voting for each other. And no one else is getting a look in. And the problem here in the UK, I think sometimes the UK is not popular with other Europeans for whatever reason. And it's politicised the whole thing. And it's an enormous shame. Because for years and years, that has been a great, great event, the Eurovision Song Contest. Something that I personally have followed for years and years. I have loved it. I've also got old videotapes that I managed to find on eBay, going back to the 60s of some of the very first shows. And the technical side of things for the Eurovision Song Contest is now brilliant. Now, I think it was Serbian television hosted this year's Eurovision Song Contest, and the staging of the contest itself was magnificent. I have never seen such a fantastic stage, and full marks to Serbia for putting on such a fantastic event. Even down to the camera work this time seemed really good, seemed better than it was usually. The way the camera sort of moved off, and it was clearly whoever was pushing those buttons was a musical person, because the picture was changing to the beat of the music. Some people won't understand what, probably wouldn't notice something like that. But to me, you know, when you've got a tune going and you've got the beat going boom, 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 that's when the picture should change on the telly. Boom, boom, boom. You always know when someone's not that musical, or is, shall we say, and I don't mean to belittle this job, just a producer with not much talent. There are some of them. You know, the ones, when I say not much talent, yeah, okay, you can push the buttons, you know roughly when to do it. But if you've got talent as well, a lot of talent, I mean, it's like some people on the television, isn't it? Some presenters you can watch and you take to straight away. Some have got more talent than others. I have to say the two presenters on the Serbian Eurovision Song Contest, I didn't think that much of them. They looked very nice. Don't get me wrong, they looked nice. But once again, I have a feeling the producers went for looks. Now, they might well be very popular on the telly over there, but they just didn't do it for me, I'm afraid. On the other hand, not a lot of Eurovision presenters have done it for me, to be honest. They look very good, but does it get any further than that? It's like with a producer. The ones that with the talent, they push those buttons to the beat of the music and the picture changes. If you're watching a programme and the picture changes not in the beat to the music, yeah, okay, the programme is still there and it looks okay. Nothing wrong with it. Who am I to criticise? I'm not a producer, okay? But from my viewer's point of view, it's nice and you can see it. When the picture changes to the music, you think, yeah, you know what you're doing, mate. And it was like that. It was like that. And the camera work was really good as well. I cannot praise the way that show was put together enough. It was the best ever. But the UK came last. And, you know, I don't believe that song was ever going to win. Our singer was Andy Abrams, who comes across as a really nice bloke. He's the sort of person I'd love to sit down, have a chat with for an hour, go to the pub and have a drink, you know, sit in a fish and chip shop and have fish and chips with him and have a good old chin wag. You can imagine, I don't know if he's got a family. I bet his family are well looked after and all that. He's very smartly dressed. He comes across as a really nice bloke. but he did not deserve to come last. There were a few songs there that are absolutely abysmal, and they finished above that one. That's why it's now become too political. You cannot have a contest where the same countries keep voting for each other because of political things instead of music. And it's a shame that this has happened. It really is a shame how this has happened. The whole event is supposed to bring people together, but I'm afraid it's alienated an awful lot of people this time. Presenter here in the UK, the commentator rather here in the UK, is Terry Wogan. And for years and years, you know, he's saying, oh, it's the old political voting. And let's be honest, it's always been a little bit of a joke. The whole way the voting goes, you know. We know that Cyprus and Greece are going to give each other loads of points, and other countries do the same. But it was always within kind of, it kind of worked out in the end. It's not working out anymore. The same countries are just giving each other enormous votes, and it's locked other people out, including the UK. It's locked us out. We cannot win again in the present format. We want to win. If the song is good enough, we want to stand a good chance of winning. Even if, in my opinion, even if we had the best song, we would not have won. We still would have come right down the bottom. Now, one of the countries that wasn't represented this year was Ireland. And I have to say, I'm a great fan of the Irish. I have Irish in my blood too. My nan was Irish, Nanny Ryan. She was from Cork. I've never been to Ireland myself yet. Would love to go. But for some reason, the Irish this year put in the most abysmal song. It was awful. Awful. Why on earth did they put that song in? Did they just not want to win? Don't get that at all. The Irish songs have most of the time been fantastic. You've got Johnny Logan, of course. He done 2 or 3, I think. I think he wrote another one. Is it Nina or someone like that? She did In Your Eyes, songs like that. Dana, of course, all fantastic songs from the Irish for years and years and years. And then suddenly, this one sung by a turkey of all things. Or maybe the Irish have come to realise something that we've only just realised, and that with the present voting system, neither of us can win again. And it's not fair. I've listened to, of course, people could say, oh, you're just sore that you haven't won this year. No, I would tell you, if I thought the song was really bad, then I would say. Now, we had a guy called Daz, song a couple of years, it was either last year or the year before, and that was awful. That song was dreadful, and it deserved to come down last. Gemini, a few years before that. Now, the song was good, but on the night, the performance was awful. It was abysmal. The performance was absolutely abysmal from Gemini. So, once again, their vote was very low, and I kind of agree with the vote. This year, the song was not that bad. It was a middle-of-the-road song. And with 25 countries entering, I would have said we should have got about 15th with that one. 15th. Not right down the bottom. There were plenty of songs in that contest this year that were much, much worse than our one. I think you know the ones I mean. Love the Spanish. I'm sorry that your song was dreadful this year. Mind you, again, that's only in my opinion, isn't it? There might be people out there who absolutely love the Spanish song. The French one as well was not particularly good this year. But then there were good songs that didn't seem to get many points. Portugal, great song this year. Really good song, that Portuguese song. Israel, I thought, should have been a lot higher up the board. If you've got any comments at all on the Eurovision, I know it was a couple of weeks ago now, if you watched it at all, what do you think of any of that? And how could it be improved? I was listening to some other radio stations and they were talking about this at length. And I was saying one of the suggestions was that because we have semi-finals and that, there were altogether, I think, over 40-something countries that was in the semi-finals as well, you see. So they had 2 semi-finals and then a final. Some people were saying, why are the countries that were knocked out in the semi-finals voting? Which is interesting. I think I prefer to have if all the countries that have entered, whether it's the semi-finals so far, yeah, I think they should continue voting. Besides, what these people have forgotten there, because these are like UK people as well, if the countries that were knocked out in the semi-finals didn't vote, then we wouldn't have even got those few points from Ireland, who were knocked out in the semi-finals. Another person I heard on the phone suggested that we have now 2 Eurovision Song Contests. One for the Eastern countries and one for the Western countries. But again, that's splitting it up, isn't it? It's whereas this contest, I've always thought it brings a lot of people together from all walks of life and all nations together. Then you're going to split it up again. I don't think so. So I don't know what the answer is. How do you say to a group of countries who are clearly all good friends with each other, how do you actually say to them, come on, vote for the best song and not your friends? How do you do that? Any comments at all on that? You might agree, you might disagree with any of it. Do let us know. We've got the email address. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. The other thing, of course, with the Eurovision Song Contest on, they took off Doctor Who. I can't believe it. There was no Doctor Who on that week. Now, they could have. I mean, Eurovision Song Contest wasn't on until 8 o'clock at night. It's a liberty, dear. There was no Doctor Who. I'm very disappointed. I mean, the Doctor Who the week before was really good. Did you see it? Did anyone see the Doctor Who with the giant wasp? Have you had that in the USA yet? Or indeed Australia? Or wherever you are? Did you see the Doctor Who with the giant wasp? It was fantastic. Oh, it was really good. Huh? Did you see that? And in future Doctor Who's, it looks like we have the return of Davros. Who remembers Davros? He is the creator of the Daleks. Well, he's not really the creator, you know, he's just an actor. Oh, the phone. Is the phone going to ring? No. He's not really the creator of the Daleks. That was a man who wrote the programme. But in the programme, he is the creator of the Daleks. And he's this little old man who sits there in like a Dalek type, I don't know, trolley thing, whatever, you know. The bottom half of him is a Dalek and the top half is this old wrinkly old man. Look, I beg your pardon, he does not look like me. What a liberty. You take liberties with me today. You're taking liberties. I do not look like Davros. He's got these little withered hands that, oh, yes, I am Davros. He is coming back. He's going to be in Doctor Who very soon and I'm very excited about that. I wonder if he looks any younger. Maybe he's had Botox. Maybe he has had Botox, has he? You don't know. I actually got a nice little text and a couple of emails. Not emails, text emails from her mobile phone from Ivona in Slovakia. Hello, my darling. She sometimes sends her photos through and what have you, don't you, Ivona? By the way, Ivona, do you listen? I can't remember. Do you listen online or via Sky, or via FM in Slovakia? I'm not quite sure how you listen. I think you listen on FM, because this show does go out on FM in Slovakia. Which method do you use to listen? Are you online, FM, or via the satellite? Do let us know, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And she recently sent me an email via her mobile phone, which I meant to print out. I completely forgot to print out. But she did put, I remember part of the email said, why do you keep talking about Botox and things like that? Chris, you don't need any of it. So thank you, Ivona. I love you too, my love. Mwah, 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 mwah. Kisses for you. Mwah, mwah. More. Mwah, 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 mwah. Eh? Ivona's a little bit disappointed, aren't you, my darling, that I do bat for the other team, I'm afraid, my love. But you never know. All this could change. I don't know. Where is fate taking me, dear? Eh? There we are. Now, what else we got? Oh, did I tell you about the football at the karaoke night? A couple of weeks ago. We had the football final. Now, who was it again? I'm not a football follower. Was it Liverpool and Manchester United or Chelsea and Manchester United? It was Chelsea, wasn't it? Okay, so I walked into the pub, the Golden Lion, on Wednesdays, and there's footballs on and the pub was packed. It was packed. The football's on the screen. I thought, what's going on here? What about my karaoke singers, lovey? Huh? So I set up. I said, what are we doing, Mike? He said, well, there was a big crowd came in. They wanted a football on, so we put it on for them. I said, what do you want me to do? He says, well, I don't know. What do you think you should do? You know, they always, there's another one of these managers, they always pass the buck, don't they? They always give it to you to decide, so it looks like it's your idea, so it makes me feel better. I said, well, I don't mind. So I said, well, why don't you just turn the sound down and we'll carry on with the karaoke? So, okay then. So he turned the sound down and the music came up. So I went over to sound. Within a couple of minutes, the sound had come back on and the music had gone off. And I thought, oh, here we go. Why doesn't he just say what he wants? You know, he's a nice bloke, he is. Mike is his name. I get on really well with him. And so I went back over. I said, do you want me to just wait until the football's finished? He said, oh, I think that might be a good idea. Of course, that's what he wanted all along. But he wouldn't say it in case it upset me, I suppose. Oh, come on, Mike. You know me better than that. You can say anything to me, dear. Well, you can, anyway. So we waited until the football finished. And, of course, it then went into extra time and then into penalties. So we didn't start singing till about 10:30. And my friend Gwen, you know Gwen, the elderly lady, she comes around to all the places where we do karaoke and she comes and sings. Me and her were sitting there. Actually, to be honest, there wasn't many karaoke singers in. There was only me and her and I, rather. I'm sorry, that was bad English. It's not me and her, it's her and I, okay? You put the other one first. A little bit of an English lesson for you there. So we were sitting there and we just chatted for about an hour and a half, which was rather nice, wasn't it? Eh? I thought that was rather nice. And I thought, oh, I'm being paid to sit here. Do you know, at the end of the night, what a cheat. At the end of the night, it docks me £30. £30 and said, oh, that's because the football was on. What a cheat. I'm not happy about that, dear. What a liberty. £30. Oh, don't worry. Me and the cats won't eat this week. And that's it. Thank you very much, Mike. You naughty man, dear. That's not on, that ain't. What a blooming cheek. So that was karaoke night, where I do that every Wednesday at the Golden Lion in Britannia Street, King's Cross. We also do a bit of extension there now. We do it 9 till 1 a.m. instead of 8 till 12, all right? 9 till 1 a.m. karaoke every Wednesday night at the Steam Coach. And it was also very nice at the Bingay. The last two Bingays, now the one recent one, the Bank Holiday Bingay, I can't believe how many people were there. It was packed. Now, Bingay, I do that in two venues now. Monday night at the Golden Lion, Britannia Street, King's Cross. That's kind of northish London. We do that 8 till 12, okay, 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. The last bank holiday, I can't believe how many people was in there. It was packed. Packed in there. We had a really good night. Tiring. Bit tiring, because what happens after we play a game, I then go around and sell the tickets for the next game, because it was so busy. Literally, the moment we stopped playing the previous game, I had to sell the tickets straight away again, because we have a 10-minute, 15-minute break in between each game, so people can go outside, have a cigarette, maybe order a drink, something to eat, and it all works quite well. So fantastic night. We also interestingly had a group of deaf people in. Now, we always have a group of deaf people in for the Bingay, because the actual little, would you call it a show? The show is a bit visual as well because the numbers come up on a couple of screens within the venue. So we have a smallish deaf group that comes down every single week. Well, this week there was an international deaf group came round. They all belong to this group, international group, and they were from France and Belgium and Germany. And I found out. Now, this will surprise you. I bet you didn't know this. You know the sign language I do? I learned some sign language. Look, thank you. Okay? That's how you do sign language to say thank you. Thank you. You kind of touch your chin and move your hand away from it. All right? And you move your hand. Say you've got the palm. Just describe it for you if you're listening. You kind of put the palm of your hand towards your house. Towards your face. You then touch the bottom of your chin with your middle finger and then move the hand back out again. Thank you. So I learnt that. I also learnt, now, I didn't know this. Did you know that sign language is not universal? This is what one of them was telling me. Depending on which country you come from, they have different signs. I didn't know that. Even in Scotland and England, some of the signs are different. Which surprised me. I thought the whole thing was very universal. But it's great. Sometimes, and it's lovely to see this, sometimes some of the deaf people come to the karaoke night. And what they do is one of their friends will come up and sing, and one of the others will come and stand on the side of the stage and do all the sign languages, which is great. Fantastic. But that surprised me, the fact that sign language in different countries, different signs. Didn't know that. So that was all very nice, the bingo there. The bingo, of course, also at West 5 in Popes Lane, Ealing, between 8 p.m. and 12 midnight. And that one's starting to work. Slowly but surely, these things do take a time to work. All right, so that's that. Now, have I told you everything I was going to tell you today? Oh, my, you know my neighbour Pearl? She lives 3 doors away. She recently, I told you on a previous programme a couple of months ago, she's got a new little Alsatian, little puppy. Well, I say puppy. My God, you've never seen a dog grow so bigly. So, bigly? That's a funny word, isn't it? Bigly. You've never seen a dog grow so big quickly. It's massive. It's great big paws like that, but it's still a little puppy. And it's got a floppy ear. It's got a floppy ear. And it looks... And she says, oh, look at the dog. I said, what? What's wrong with it? She said, oh, it's got a floppy... She's like, oh, it's got a floppy ear. I said, yeah. She said, well, it's an Alsatian. It's supposed to have, erect ears standing up like that. I said, oh, Pearl, no, that's cute. It's really cute. One of its ears is like that, and the other one is flopping down. And it is the cutest dog you ever did see. We love it. Yes, I must try and get a picture of Pearl's dog and put it up here at some point. Now, let me see. Have I talked about everything here I wanted to tell you about today? I think so. We've done the ironing board, haven't we? I think we ought to move on to some emails before we start running out of time. Quite a lot here. Hello to Susan. It's our friend Susan. Now, Susan's not an Alsatian person, are you, my darling? Susan is a cat person. She works with big cats, tigers, lions, and sent me in some beautiful pictures. Just stunning, those cats. They really are. And Susan says, your mate, she's cut. Well, she hasn't cut, actually. She's picked up some of the lion mane off the floor where she works, so that I can stick it onto the bit of hair that I'm getting missing in the middle of my head, which is rather nice. She says, your mane is on the way. Sorry for the delay. That's all right, my darling. No rush. There's no rush, dear. I had to go out of town, and then I had to catch up on my mowing. Well, you been doing your grass as well? Oh, I love doing mowing, don't you? Wayne, Wayne, Anonymous. Oh, he was moaning the other day, too. He said, oh, he hates it when it rains because the grass grows and he has to mow it. Oh, stop moaning. It's nice to see things living and growing, dear. Come on, Wayne. Get that lawnmower out, dear. She says, regard your questions about cats' eating habits, because I've noticed my cats do eat a lot less in the summer. It differs according to each cat. Should we do some cat purring? Is that nice? Talon, that's her bobcat. Her bobcat sleeps in the same bed with her. Yes? And this cat's massive. Sleeps on the bed with her. Talon eats a lot no matter what time of year. Usually around 3 pounds of meat a day. My God, that's a small person, isn't it? 3 pounds of meat, dear. God. Of course, he has it pretty good. In the heat of the summer, he lays around in the air conditioning, sprawled out on the couch. The larger cats in our hot summers do tend to eat a lot less, or a little less, but that differs in each cat. Like people, there are fat ones and skinny ones. Yeah, it's good. But I like. Can you imagine if everyone looked the same, like clones? I think that would be awful, wouldn't it? Wouldn't like that. Moen, one of the tigers, is a food hog. He is always ready for dinner. Oh, I don't think I'll be going in his cage, my love. Do you ever, Susan, do you ever think to yourself, oh, that cat's looking at me like it wants to eat me today? Did you ever think that? Huh? Do you, tell me, because you go in these cages with the cats, are you ever afraid? Because they are naturally meat eaters, aren't they? Or, I mean, I'm sure you're regular at feeding them and that sort of thing. But has there ever been an occasion where perhaps someone's forgot to feed them and you're about to go and you think, hang on a minute, he looks a bit hungry, I'm not going in there today? Yeah, do you ever think like that? Or has there ever been times where you're thinking, no, I'm not going in today, he looks very angry and he's going to attack me? Do you? I just wondered. I have to say, is it like my 2 domestic cats? Because they don't attack me. They've never attacked me. Only if the young one, JD, now she was my mum's cat. And when I first brought her here after Mum died, she was really vicious and nasty. She wouldn't let me anywhere near her, and she would hide behind the washing machine. If I put my hand in, about really, I was such a small animal. It was quite scary actually. But eventually, I just left her alone and waited. And after a few days, she came to me. And then that was it. She's never attacked me at all or anything like that. And the older cat, Tiny, well, as you know, I have a problem. She has a problem with her fur now. She's too old to go around and lick all her fur. She doesn't do that anymore. So I have to brush her. And sometimes you get, often I get matting in the hair, and if it starts tugging on her, she starts growling. She kind of lets me know first. I will say, she lets me, she doesn't suddenly go like that. She lets me know first. But if I carry on doing it, then sometimes she has a little bit of with her paw, you know. But she does seem to know that I'm doing it for her own benefit, because eventually, if I keep carrying on doing it and then I'll let go, she'll walk off, turn around, hiss a couple of times, and then within a couple of minutes she comes back over again. So I'm sure she knows I'm doing it for her own good. Of course, there's a lot of difference between a little domestic cat going like that, isn't there, and one of your tigers or lions. So I wonder, is it the same sort of thing? Do you know when they're a little bit annoyed and you shouldn't perhaps really go near them and just wait a while? You can tell by the expressions on my cat's faces, Susan, how they actually feel. I know when they're annoyed about something, or excited, or just want a bit of love. Can tigers and lions tell if you're frightened? And is that perhaps a time not to go in the cage? I'm just fascinated by your job. I really am, Susan. Susan says, the cats are in sync and are very well taken care of, and Vicky spoils them. Oh, I'm sure they are, my darling. This is how it should be. But one of the tigers, Emma, and also one of the lions really takes the cake. They will not eat out of their food bowls. Naughty cats! They prefer to be hand-fed. Oh, blimey. What, are you doing waitress service as well now? Why don't you give them all buzzers? And they can buzz when they want their dinner, my love. I guess being the king of beasts has its advantages. Imagine having someone stand there at your service holding out dinner for you. Oh, it's a bit much, isn't it? Also, Kashama. Well, that's what a name. Kashama. I like that name. That's a real tiger's name, isn't it? Kashama. Also, Kashama, another tiger, is almost 5 years old now. But she will suck on a bottle if you give her one. You're still feeding her out of a bottle. Oh, dear. Most of Insync's cats are vinegar trained. Now, this is interesting. We never poke, hit or yell at any of the cats. You know what, Susan? I think that is cats as a whole, whether big or small. You don't yell at cats. They don't take any notice. Dogs do. Cats are, you can't yell at cats. They're very proud animals, aren't they? Now, this is interesting. I didn't know this. They are treated with the respect they deserve, and they certainly do, big cats. Vinegar training is used by a lot of sanctuaries. You know, cats, they wash themselves. Yep, all the time. The smell of vinegar, if you need a cat to go outside or come inside, you can spray them with white vinegar on their body. You know, cats, they wash themselves. Well, the smell of the vinegar stays on them, and they also don't like the taste. After a short time, you can just point the bottle and not have to spray them. The spray bottle I am holding in one of the pictures, which I've sent you, holds vinegar. This can also be used to train cats and dogs. Now, this is interesting. As far as you coming to visit the cats, that would be great. Oh, I'd love to. I don't know when. They are not picky. They like both white meat and dark meat. Oh, my God. You're not suggesting I go in one of the cages, are you? They'd pick up that I was scared. How would they react? I wonder if I took one of my little cats in. How would the big cats react if I walked in the cage with one of my little babies, eh? She says, also, what beautiful babies you have. Tiny and Katie are your family. Yeah, they are. And I'm glad you take such good care of them. They make a house a home. Enjoy the wonderful little souls you have in your life and stop looking for a partner. This is interesting, look. Tiny and Katie will give you pleasure, more pleasure than any partner ever will. I too have been divorced since... you divorced the same time as me, Susan. I've been divorced since 1983, and like you, I spent years looking for my perfect partner. But I've found happiness in myself and my kitty, that is a Talon. He keeps me warm at night. He doesn't drink or smoke. He is very faithful. I know it's useless to tell you this, because years ago I was like you, constantly searching, forever looking. I hope someday you'll find the peace that I have. Yeah, I do as well. I can't find peace. I don't know. I fill all the hours of the day with things. I suppose trying to fill the gap. On the other hand, you know, if I did find someone, I'd clearly have to stop doing some of the stuff I do. The video show? I don't know. The radio show? Don't know. I don't know what would happen, really. Certainly some of the night work. Maybe not the video stuff. Certainly some of the night work I'd give up. I don't think I'd give up the little talk shows. No. Take care of yourself and give Tiny and Katie kisses for me. I love your shows and enjoy seeing your garden and your babies. All for now, Susan. Thank you, Susan. Lovely email, Susan. You're a very good writer, just like our Suko. Just like Suko. How are we doing on time? Oh, we've only got a couple of minutes left, haven't we? We've got a new listener here, Connor. I love that name, Connor. We used to have an Irish lad at school, and I put on an accent as well. Connor, have you got the time, Connor? Love the Irish accent. And here we go. Hi, Chris. I'm a big fan. I found your programme on Talk Radio X. facts. I love it. My name is Connor. I'm 20 and from Australia. I used to live in the Republic and the north of Ireland for about a year and a bit. Concerning the strange things, remember I was saying if you've got anything strange ever happened, let us know. As a child, when in Ireland, I lived in an apartment block in Belfast. I would sleep with the window open. One night, I woke up to a light source from the ground outside. I went to my window and looked down at the, he thinks it was an oak tree. The light was a small fire with small figures dancing around it. I gawked and watched for nearly an hour until I closed my window and went to sleep. I have seen and heard things most of my life. Around a month ago, I saw the shadow of someone enter my room. I walked down the corridor and into my room. When I entered my room, I found no one but my computer on. Then all of a sudden, when I sat on my bed, I felt someone hug me. Interesting. People see things. He says, also, concerning turning backwards and forwards, I always wanted to grow up to suit my maturity, as I've always been called an old soul. Now I'm 20 and done some bad things. I wish I was a child again, don't we all? Connor, great to hear from you, and welcome along, sir. And it's time for me to go. Thank you very much, as always, who signs it Paul and Connor. Love it, love it. Thanks for joining me. Email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I've got to go. See you on the next show. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.